Hello, welcome, lovely viewers on Race to the Seat on SBN TV. I'm Samuel Soyanki and I'm your host. I have with me a distinguished guest tonight as we discuss Gift unto Kaiser. We want to take a short commercial break. We'll be right back. You're watching Race to the Seat on SBN TV. I'm Samuel Soyanki and I have with me, like I told you, a distinguished guest tonight. He's a Reverend Doctor and a lecturer as well. So without wasting much time, Reverend, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I would like you to mention your name and tell us about yourself.
Okay. My name is Cyril Gershon Kwao Fayose. I'm a pastor of the Evangelical Presbyterian Church, Ghana, and I'm currently the General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana.
Okay.
I hail from the Volta region. As you know, usually people think EP Church means AB Presbyterian. So I hail from the Volta region.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I can say for now.
Okay. That's good. For how long have you been with the EP Church? EP, that's Evangelical Presbyterian Church.
Yes. For how long have I been a pastor?
Yes.
Well, I went into ministry in 1986 as a student.
Wow.
Yes, and then I graduated in 89, and then had my first parish, the Evangelical Presbyterian Church, Vigrebe Parish at Nima.
Oh, okay.
That was my first parish. In fact, I was their first parish pastor, and I served there for a number of years, 4 years.
Oh, okay.
And then I went back to study.
Oh,
I went back to school.
You went back to school?
Yeah.
Did you travel out of the country or you were within the country?
I did both. I did some in the country, and then I traveled outside of the country.
Wow.
Yes.
So from 86. Wow, that's a number of years. Some of us were not even born at that time. Wow. Yes. And you are still in the ministry.
Yes.
Wow,
and I'm still young.
Wow, I can see that. You look much younger anyway. Okay, yeah. So how long have you been with the Christian Council too?
I'm in my 3rd year now.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so that have been brief.
Oh, okay.
After my studies, I came back to Trinity, where I studied my seminary, Trinity Theological Seminary, and lectured there for a while.
Okay.
And then rose to become the vice president and the president. And then after that, I went to become the president of the EP University College.
Wow.
Yeah, before I came to Christian Council.
Wow. That's good. You're an academician.
Yeah.
Sure. And so with the Christian Council, I learned on your sites that it consists. You started with 5 churches, and now you are about 28 churches or so. So per ranking, I would like to know, how does all these churches contribute to the growth of the Christian Council?
Okay. Let me give you a little background to the Christian Council. The Christian Council, as you rightly said, was founded in 1929. So it means the Christian Council of Ghana is 91 years old. So if you think 86 is old, then 1929 is very, very old.
Okay.
So, and it was started by 5 churches, and then it has grown to 31 churches, member churches, and organizations. Some of them are Christian organizations, like the YMCA and the YWCA, and so on. And the Christian Council of Ghana was established primarily for the unity of the churches. You know, one of Jesus's prayers before he left us is that all of us will be one, all the believers will be one, just as he and the Father are one. Unfortunately, because of the different strands of Christianity that came to us, especially in Africa, we have all these different forms of Christianity. We have the Roman Catholic, we have the Protestants, we have the Pentecostals, we have the Charismatics, all these different Christians. Even among the Protestants, you have the Methodists, you have the Presbyterians, and so on. In such small kind of seclusions, we become very weak. So the whole idea is to try to manifest that prayer of our Lord Jesus Christ by bringing all of us together. And one of the ways to do that is to forget our differences and focus on our similarities. Our similarities is the fact that we are all Christians. We all believe in the Lordship of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Yeah. We all believe in the baptism in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Whether it's by immersion or by sprinkling, it doesn't really matter. Baptism is baptism. So we leverage on those commonalities to come together. And that's how the Christian Council was formed. But as I said, it's not just for the sake of the unity. Once we are formed, in unity there's strength. So when we come together, we become a more powerful voice, a more powerful institution. We are able to do a lot more things, because religion primarily is for doing good. The Bible says that our Lord Jesus Christ went about everywhere doing good, healing people, praying for people, and so on. So our primary responsibility is to go out there into the world and do good. Okay. Yes, educate people, heal people, and so on and so forth. Okay. We are able to do that better if we come together. In addition to that, we are able to speak truth to power. We are able to speak on behalf of the marginalized and the voiceless in society. We are able to seek peace and justice in society. All of these things are catalysts for socio-economic development in society. So this is our goal. Mm-hmm. So we come together, we are united, so that we can impact and transform society.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, that's so you made mention of you being the voice of the voiceless.
That's right.
And how has the Christian Council deal with some of these kind of social issues where we see the less privileges on the streets and everything? How has the Christian Council
dealt with
such issues?
We have a number of departments in the Christian Council of Ghana. One of them is what we call the Projects and Advocacy Committee, or departments, and they handle most of those issues at the Christian Council of Ghana Secretariat level. So some of the things we do, for instance, we identify a social concern. For instance, gender violence, for instance. And we do some advocacy around that. In other words, we go out there and teach people the right thing to do. We identify something like child labor. There's child labor in certain communities in our country, child trafficking and so on. We go into those communities sometimes and go and rescue children who are in some kind of slavery, and resettle them, and also educate their parents to do the right thing. So there are all kinds of social programs, social interventions that we undertake, but it depends on the issue of the. When HIV was very predominant, or was a new crisis on our hands, again, the council played a major role in awareness creation and also the prevention of the disease.
Oh, okay. Then you guys are really doing great works out there.
Yeah.
So that's the Christian Council.
Yeah.
As well. And also,
maybe let me add a bit to that. Okay. Some of the other things that we do are not directly by the council, because the Christian Council is formed by churches. Sure. So our members are huge organizations in their own right, like the Methodist Church, the Presbyterian Church. They are nationwide. They have a national spread, and so we have established a number of educational facilities, schools, from kindergarten all the way to tertiary, to the university level. They have schools. We have some of the best schools in the country. And in fact, we started establishing schools even before the government started. Even the colonial government started, not the independent government. Even before colonial government started.
Older than the country, so it's
exactly. So we have a number of schools. We are in partnership with the government to run the schools. We build the schools, and then they help us with the management. In other words, they pay the teachers, and they pay the administrative costs. So we are able to manage the school. We have the same thing for health. And again, if you come to look at it, this education and health, agricultural extension services, teaching people basic skills for survival, all these things also help solve some of the social concerns that you raised, that you talked about. So one is to intervene directly. The other one is to educate people so that they don't end up in the same situation as their parents or as their relatives. So again, in health, we provide a lot of health services. In fact, currently, there's an organization called the Christian Health Association of Ghana. It's owned partly by the Christian Council of Ghana, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, and then the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council, and a few other churches. So these churches come together to form, because all these churches have hospitals, to form the Christian Health Association. And the Christian Health Association provides about 40% of health service in Ghana. That is huge. That is a big contribution. And again, we are in partnership with the government, and the government helps with the management and the running of these health facilities.
Then, since you made mention of governments, what role has the Christian Council played for this change of governments and the sense?
That's a good question. Again, let me go back to the history of the Christian Council. I said we were established in 1929. So the Christian Council was instrumental, was a key player in the independence movement.
Wow.
You may not have heard that, but you see, most of the big players in the independence movements are by and large Christians, and who had a Christian education, and that Christian education influenced their thinking. And so we can claim that most of the members of the Big Six, for instance, were members of the Christian Council of Ghana or some Christian fraternity, one way or the other. So our introduction of education and other things influenced the way they think and do things. And that also influenced their push for independence. So in a way, the Christian Council of Ghana influenced that process. So fast forward to the First Republic, the Christian voice was loud and clear when the first president introduced certain things that they thought were not right. Then we had the military regimes. And during the military regimes, no one would talk, because if you speak, you disappear. But you see, the church will still speak. Because as I said, we are a united force. And when we speak, who are you going to arrest and if you like, kill or something? So the church was still a voice to contend with, even in those days of silence where people could not speak.
Because there was curfew here and there.
Exactly. The church could still speak. And it is the voice of the church that led to the return to democracy. Okay. And then in the Fourth Republic, in the run-up to the Fourth Republic, again, the church was quite vociferous, to the extent that the Christian Council of Ghana had a chair in the committee that drafted the 1992 Constitution. Okay, so we made sure some of our Christian values and things that we regard dearly were all there in the 1992 Constitution. And since the 1992 Constitution, we have been gatekeepers and watchdogs of the Fourth Republic, the democratic process, the young democratic process. In the run-up to every election, we run a number of programs to make sure that people go out there to vote. So we do voter education, and then we do election monitoring and observation. Because of the spread of the church.
All that.
Yes, because you see, the Christian Council may be a small organization at the top, but on the ground, we are in every nook and cranny of the country. Because there's a Methodist church, there's a Presbyterian church in every hut and hamlet of every village and hamlet of Ghana. So at every polling station, we are able to, in collaboration with our partners, we're able to place an observer in every polling station to make sure that the election, all the elections that we have had so far, are free, fair, and credible.
Wow. Okay.
So those are some of the things the Christian Council has been doing up to this point.
Oh, okay. And what other activities are done apart from you educating them on their voter registration and those things? What other activities do you do?
Yeah, one is voter education. I talked about voter education. The other thing is I talked about election observation.
Okay.
We do that in collaboration with our partners like CODEO.
Okay.
CODEO is coalition of domestic election observers. CODEO. So in partnership with them, because we have the reach, we have the numbers, we are in every part of the country. We provide the human resource, and then they are the technical people. We bring our observations back, they collate it, and they are able to make pronouncements on the election. But again, it is that whole process is done so that we can make sure that the election is one peaceful, and then it's free, fair, and credible. So election observation, and currently we are even training our members to do that. So we seek permission from the EC to be observers. So we have identification. When we go to the police station, they know that yes, this person is an observer.
This is the first time you are doing that?
No, we have done this since the Fourth Republic. Every election, yes. We have been election observers every election.
Wow.
And so we are training people. First of all, we train the trainers, and then they go out into their constituencies and go and train their people. And so on the day of the election, our people will be at every police station just to observe. We don't do anything about the process, we only observe. Sometimes we advise, because we know the rules of the election process. So sometimes our representatives advise a bit, but they don't do very much of that. They are just there to observe and then bring their reports back. Yeah. And then we also have what we call the Eminent Persons Group of Religious Leaders. This is, again, an initiative of the Christian Council of Ghana. And currently, the Eminent Persons Group that we have this year is made up of 21 members. And they come from the Christian Council and other councils. So they are not just Christian Council members. They are members of the GPCC, the Catholic Bishops Conference, and then other council, NAC, and so on. So all of this, and then we are even interfaith. We reach out to our Muslim brothers and sisters as well. So they are also part of this Eminent Persons Group. And this Eminent Persons Group engages the major stakeholders in the electoral process. So we have had engagements with the Electoral Commission, with the major leading political parties, with NCC. We are yet to have one with the media, because the media is also very important in this whole process. We have not had one with the security services yet. We are planning to have that before December 7th.
Wow.
So these are all things that we do just to calm down tensions and also to create a good environment for the election to be peaceful.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
yeah, go ahead.
That means that it's as Christians as we are, it's good for us to involve ourselves in this political affairs in every country.
Yeah.
People believe that as Christian or whatever denomination they belong to or doctrines they belong to, things that we are not supposed to involve ourselves in any political affairs as Christians. And what will we tell the general public about that?
Yeah, I think it's a misunderstanding of what politics is all about. Politics is about how we manage ourselves as a society, how we manage our resources, how we share those resources, how we manage it, how we grow those resources, and how we share them so that everyone will have some of it equitably. That is basically what politics is. And if that is what politics is, then you don't have a choice but be a politician. I mean, be involved. Let me not use the word politician, but be involved in politics. Politics determines your education, your health, your job opportunities, your birth, your death. You know, in some countries, the governance structure determines whether you can have 2 children or 3 children or 4 children or even 1.
Yeah.
So and how you are even buried is determined by how we decide as a society to do that. Okay, that decision-making process is what politics is all about. And it is important as Christians that we are involved in that process if we want to influence that process with our Christian values. If we are not involved in that process, then people who are not Christians are going to take those decisions for us. So by deciding not to be involved in the political process itself is a decision that you have taken that other people should decide for you. Are you getting me? So it's very important for us, especially in a country like Ghana where we say we are 70+% of the population. It will be extremly bad or not best for us, the majority of the people, if the people who decide for us, who are in parliament and who are in the presidency, are all non-Christians. Can you imagine what that will do for us?
Yes.
I mean, they are going to take decisions that are contrary to our values and are going to affect us.
Exactly.
So it's extremely important for every Christian to be involved in politics. In fact, it is our civic responsibility, if you like. It's part of our patriotism. As even though they say we are in the world, but we don't belong to the world.
Yes.
But while we are in the world, we have to pay our dues to the world. Exactly.
To give out to Kaiser.
Exactly. You have to give on to Kaiser, because if you don't do that, some other people are going to decide things for you. So it is extremely important that we are involved. And I even think that we must be involved even in partisan politics as Christians. In other words, it's okay for an ordinary Christian to be MPP and NDC and not be shy of it, and to come out publicly and say that I endorse the values of the New Patriotic Party.
Oh, really?
And then for another person to come and say, the National Democratic Congress, I endorse the values of the National. I believe in their principles, their democratic principles, and this one, their patriotic principles, and so on. You know, those are part of the nation building process or the building of our society. What we stand against is that because we are religious leaders and our flock, our membership, are made up of people in the different political parties, it is important that we embrace all of them. Okay. So as religious leaders, it is important that we don't toe any one particular line. So even as religious leaders, we are involved in politics. As I said, the Christian Council is very much involved in politics, but we are not involved in partisan politics, or we don't profess it. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we all go and vote, right? Even as religious leaders, we vote, and we vote one way or the other. Sure. We believe in the ideas of one party or the other. Okay, but it is important that we don't come out publicly to sort of profess that and proclaim that, because we may be dividing our memberships. But it's important for Christians to be in politics, and so that they can influence.
Okay. So as to that, Christians should be in politics and they should influence. But here lies the case that if you go to the Parliament House, right, we have, if I can't say, like 70% of them being Christians, but we all bear witness to some of these things that goes on in our country, corruption, then which affects the growth of the country. So why are the Christians that are in politics? Is it that they are not taught well, or what? Why is that we have Christians there, but we don't get the results we are expecting? And they behave like the ordinary, let me say, those who are not believers.
Yeah, that is a very good question, a very insightful question. Christianity is on the increase in our part of the world. Everyone is saying the churches are full every Sunday. But it looks like our Christianity is only a Sunday Christianity. The rest of the week, from Monday to Friday, we are something else. It's not only the people in Parliament, but all of us who are Christians. Some people say that our Christianity is not deep. It's very, very shallow. Okay, we just show off our Christianity at certain times, but other times our Christianity cannot be seen. Our Christianity doesn't impact our way of life. Okay? And that is exactly what you are saying. So there is something that we are not doing right. We are discipling our people, but then somehow the message is not going deep enough to affect and infect their lives so as for it to impact the way they do things. There are some Christians that do that. There are some people whose Christian values permeate everything that they do. So when they go into Parliament, you even see there. When they go into, even if they are Council of State members, you see their Christianity in the way they talk, the way they address issues, the way they take decisions, and so on. But you are right. A lot of our members, I will not say only parliamentarians, but a lot of our members are Christians, and they profess to be Christians on weekends. They go to church religiously, but at the same time, they don't walk the talk, if you like. Sure. So what can we do? We have an uphill task. We have more work to do. Sure. That is what it means. We have more education to do.
On that note, we have more work. Before we will come back and then tell us what we need to do. Okay. We want to go for a quick commercial break. And when we come back, give us why or what we should do. Okay. So on this note, you are watching Race to the Seats on SBN TV. I'm Samuel Soyanki. We're going for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. You're welcome to the Race to the Seats on SBN TV. My name is Samuel Soyanki, and my guest tonight is Reverend Dr. Fayose. Reverend, yes. Before we went for the break, you made mention of you actually briefed us on why we have Christians in the Parliament House, but yet still we have some of them. Some do the right things, but then some don't walk the word. And so why? Why does that happen?
Well, I think it has to do with the way we are discipled as Christians. And we have to continue to do more of that discipling so that our Christian values can really permeate our lives. When I say discipline, I'm basically talking about education. We must continue to teach these things. Sometimes, even as a Christian council, for instance, we can even go to Parliament and bring the Christian caucus together and have a chat with them and just have an engagement with them and make them aware of the fact that when they are in Parliament, they are not only representing their constituencies, they are also representing their faith. So we want their faith values to permeate the way they even take decisions. That will go a long way to help. Because sometimes people are just not aware, they are not conscious of some of these things. Sometimes Christianity is like a dress that they wear at certain times, and then at other times they take it off. So there may be someone in Parliament, he's a Christian, all right, he goes to church, does everything all right. But then when he gets to Parliament, he doesn't see himself operating in a Christian mode. So it's like he has taken off his Christianity and now he's a parliamentarian. It should not be that way. Okay. At all times, yes, your Christianity must be part of whatever you do. So that when they see you, they'll know that yes, this guy is different. He belongs to a certain way of doing things. He's like Christ.
Okay. And to that, you made mention of the Christian Council having influence in the electoral processes and in governance. And so does it mean that you have influence on even the people you choose as parliamentary candidates? Do you have any influence by maybe your flocks or the membership?
Yes, what we do is we educate our members to go out there and vote. So one of our core projects that we do every election year is what we call voter education. We educate our members that one, it is extremely important for them to exercise their franchise. It's extremely important for them to go out there and vote. Because by not going out there and vote, they have decided for someone to vote for them. So by not voting, you are voted. Are you with me? You are voted by not voting. So the first thing we tell them is that it's extremely important for you to go out there and vote. Secondly, you should vote for the person that will promote your Christian values. Are you with me? Yes. The person that will do justice, will take care of the poor and the vulnerable in society, because that's what we Christians believe in. Those things, will that person do those things for us? If that person will do those things for us, then vote for such a person. Are you with me?
Yes.
So that is how we influence the process. We don't tell them who to vote for, but we tell them that you should go out there and vote for the right person based on who they are as Christians. And of course, on other factors like their social and economic well-being and so on. They should vote based on those factors. The person who comes into office and will take care of some of these needs and wants of theirs, they should vote for such person. But it's extremely important for them to go out there and vote. So that hopefully we can influence the electoral process that way by our Christian values.
And to state more clarity on the point you made concerning discipling some of these politicians. And should pastors take that? Should we have special pastors? Should we train pastors specially for that?
I will not say specially trained pastors, but those who are already in Parliament now, like I said, the only intervention that we can do is maybe have some engagements with them. Some Christian bodies can have engagements with them and conscientize them to the fact that they represent their faith as well. and that their faith values should kind of color the way they do things. So that is one. But the more important one is how we disciple. That is how we groom people when they are young. So the younger generation now, we should begin to let them know, like the question you asked to start with, you let them know that politics is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not unchristian. And we should encourage them to go into politics. But more importantly, we should encourage them that whatever their field is, whether it's politics or it's law or it's religion, it's medicine or what teaching, whatever they do, they should do it as if they are serving God. Their Christianity should show forth in whatever they do. More importantly, for people who are in governance. And then we must also groom our young ones to go into government, right from the word go. But the training should be, part of the training should be that you are not going there just to represent your constituents. You are there to also represent your Christian faith or your faith as a whole. So we believe that when we approach it that way, then things may begin to change and their Christianity will show forth in their work.
How can the citizenship, the citizens in the country, when during these campaign periods where there is so much tension, what can we do to ensure peace in the country?
You mean the citizens?
Yes.
Okay.
The general public.
Yeah. So we do voter education. Let me also mention that we support the National Peace Council projects of the roadmap and the code of conduct for political parties regarding vigilantism in the country. We are part of that. So we do a lot of education. We tell our people violence doesn't solve any problem. We all belong to the same country. We are all Ghanaians. We are in the same boat. We sink or we float together. We are one people with a common destiny. If we don't behave well, I don't speak French. And I don't know how to swim. So where do I go to? So we must find a way to live amicably together. And one of the ways we do that is we have what we call I Say Yes to Peace campaign. It's one of the Christian Council of Ghana campaigns. Is that we are encouraging our leaders. So these eminent persons go out and make peace statements and say, I say yes to peace. And by doing so, they are also encouraging their membership and their members to also do the same. We tell the political parties, sometimes when we organize peace campaigns and peace walks and so on, we bring the political parties together. Usually when we do the voter education, we also invite the political parties to give a speech. And then after that, we ask them to commit to peace.
They are candidates?
Yes, they are representatives. Sometimes you get a big guy, sometimes you get at the regional level or even lower than that. But as long as there's the political actors are present and we ask them to commit to peace and they say, I say yes to peace, that alone is a good sign for the electorate to also be peaceful in their proceedings. So we teach our people to say yes to peace and urge them. In fact, all the Christians bodies, the Christian fraternity is going to have a peace campaign. We are still planning, it's in the planning stages, but I think on the 28th of November, it's a Saturday, we are going to have a major peace campaign at regional centers, at the national level, maybe at the Independence Square, so that all our members will know, at least would have heard once, that when they go out there, one, they should go out and vote, but they should vote in peace. They should respect the views of the others who are there, and they should leave the polling station and go back home until it's time for counting and announcing the results before they can go back there. So things like that help the process. So I I say yes to peace, and I urge you to do the same.
I say yes to peace.
Amen.
Okay. And apart from that, is there anything special you do again to during such election periods? You educating your members on voters and then ensuring there is peace. And as a Christian Council, offer some special prayers or something. Is there anything like that?
Sometimes we also send pastoral letters to all our member churches and their members. So every local congregation, for instance, we say things like they should pray for a peaceful election. So on the 29th, following the peace campaign on the 28th, on the 29th, we are going to declare it a day of thanksgiving and prayer for election 2020. And so we do send such pastoral letters. We encourage our pastors to use the pulpits to share peaceful messages, to encourage their members to be peaceful. The other thing is that we do a lot of behind closed doors, if you like, diplomacy. We when tensions are rising, we speak to the different parties involved. For instance, the recent voter registration, the new voter registration, there was a lot of tension leading up to it. And some people said it shouldn't be done, some people said it will be done, and so on. And so we have to, behind the scenes, talk to all the different parties involved. So we do a lot of that as well. Because all the players work very closely with the council. We are partners in so many ways. Okay. And then so when there are tensions, they look up to religious leaders to calm tensions down.
Oh, that's good. And on that note, we would like to invite you. We have a 14 days prayer and fasting. It's coming on, starting 23rd. And we would like to invite the Christian Council to be part of that.
Well, it means that it's the Christian Council that is organizing it, because the Baptist Church is part of the Christian Council of Ghana. So I'm already involved.
Thank you for that. Okay, so what is the role of the church in promoting peace? What's role?
The church itself is a peace promoting organization, or institution. Our Lord Jesus Christ says in the Sermon on the Mount, says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they are the children of God." And we say that He is the Prince of Peace, because He says His peace, He lives with us, not as the world gives, but as He gives. So it means that He has a special kind of peace that He brings to us. But then He also goes about all that He does. Even when people were crucifying Him to death, He said He forgives them. That is an act of peace. That's an act of not vengeance, not conflict, but drawing people to oneself, trying to embrace people even when they do harm to you. There's a popular saying that if you are hit on one cheek, you should turn the other one. I mean, there are several interpretations of that. Some of them that are not the best, but the point behind all of that is that we must seek peace. And in fact, a certain part of the Bible also says that if it is up to us, if it's up to me, if it's up to you, we must live with all people in peace. So all this inform who we are as Christians. So if this value that we have, the eminence that we give to, the prominence that we give to peace, if we leverage on it, then the church can play a key role in promoting peace in the country. If you are 70% Christian, again, I come to our numbers,
yes,
and we all believe in peace, we all say yes to peace, we all have these values of peace, We will not allow anyone to influence us to go and perpetrate violence at a polling station or against any other person, because that person is our supposedly our enemy. Then I think 70% of the work is already done. We have a 70% peaceful country. And I believe even with our Muslim and other religions, there is no religion that propagates violence.
Exactly.
All religions are for good purposes. So all religions believe in something like love and peace and joy and so on. So they all believe in good things. So if we all really believe same, then the church should be able to play a major role in bringing about peace in our dear nation.
Okay.
Ghana. And some of that is what we do. Is an offshoot of that is what we do in the Christian Council of Ghana.
Okay.
So some things cannot be done by the ordinary member of the church. So we do it at the national level. But then in other ways too, it is the ordinary member of the church that does it on the ground, at the local level.
Sure. And as we are talking about peace, you've spoken on the part of the Christian Council, and you have worked as a lecturer as well. So what should corporate bodies and media possibly do in promoting peace as well?
Yes, I think the search for peace is a collective responsibility. It's not a responsibility of just one person. Our security forces have a big role to play, because if there's no security, there's no peace. And they must be up and doing. They must up their game. They must be a bit more efficient and effective than they have been up to this point, because we are not too happy with what happened at Odio, for instance. We want our security force to be able to prevent a situation like that, because that scares us. If something like that can happen, even when it's not election, it's just voter registration. Then what is going to happen at the election?
It was actually a peace walk.
It was actually a peace walk, yes. It was actually a peace walk. The voter registration was the previous ones. Then what is going to happen at the election? So they have a role to play, the security apparatus. The media has a big role to play. The political parties, the supporters, it is the supporters of the political leaders who perpetrated that kind of violence against each other. They did that in support of their leaders. So if their leaders should call them to order and say, hey, no one should fight for me. We are not here to fight. We are here to sell our ideas and to come into power and govern this country in peace. Then maybe, again, there'll be peace. The media, sometimes in the race to be the first to break a particular news, sometimes they don't check their sources very well. And sometimes they are too sensational about issues. They blow up issues out of proportion, and that creates tension. So the media has a role to play. We as individuals, we have a role to play to ensure that there is peace in our dear nation, Ghana. Yeah.
Okay. On this note, we'd like to go for a quick commercial break.
Okay.
I'm Samuel Senyanki, and you're watching Race to the Seats on SBN TV. We're going for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. My name is Samuel Senyanki, and we are still on issues pertaining our upcoming elections and the role of the Christian. Reverend Doctor, so in case where there's an outburst of anger or violence among groups or people, what should people do to diffuse the tension in order to not create any misfortunes? What should we do?
Okay, if there should be chaos, we have the security services that will have to intervene. If there's a house on fire, you don't go doing other things. You look for water or fire extinguishers or the fire service to quench the fire. So first of all is we must find ways to quench the fire. So our security people must act, and I think they acted in the previous cases. to quench the fire. Once the fire is quenched, then we can begin to engage the persons that are involved in the skirmishes. If they are political parties, we can mediate the issue and find the most amicable solution to the problem. If it's some people have been affected and hurt in the process, we can look for psychologists and counselors who can help them with the problem. And then, of course, education is always important. We must continue to learn, so we can also teach them the best way to go about things, the best practice, and not to go that route, to use the institutions that we have in our society to resolve our differences. We should not take matters into our own hands. That is what results in the outbursts and the violence and the conflict. We should use the institutions that we have at our disposal, the legal system, the security services, and so on, to resolve some of these issues.
And back to what you said about the Oduji-Oduo issue, in such instances, does the Christian Council play any role in such cases when there is such tension?
Yes, we play a role. Sometimes we come up with a statement. For instance, the Oduji-Oduo issue, we came up with a statement.
Okay.
We said things like the political leaders in that constituency must call their members to order. The security services must identify the perpetrators of the violence and bring them to book. Okay. So we do release statements like that.
Okay.
But there are other times that we actually mediate, do the mediation, play the mediation role in such matters.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are different things that we could do regarding such matters.
Okay. So since you do the voters education, I think we would like you to educate the general public on.
Okay. I've made some references to that already. The first is that as citizens of any country, it is our civic responsibility, and then, if you like, our religious or our Christian responsibility, because you see, we must influence even the leadership of the country, of our people. So for us to be able to do that, we must exercise our civic responsibility. So the first and most important thing is that if you are a Christian, if you are a member of the country and you are qualified, because it's not everyone that is qualified.
Yes.
You must be of sound mind and of age. You must be 18 years and above and so on. If you have all those qualities, then you must go out there and vote. It's extremely important, because by not going out there to vote itself is voting. You have voted that someone should vote for you. So we educate our members that they should, not only our members, but the general public, that they should go out there and vote. Then they should do it in respect and in peace. They should go there quietly, follow the instructions of the election officers, the polling officers, do what they have to do, and then leave the premises. If someone should confront them or try to pick an issue with them, they should walk away quietly, or report, if they have any grievance, report to an officer, a polling officer. That would be our advice. And then go back home, and then at the right time, come back and observe, if you like, the counting and then the announcement of the results. So that would be our basic education. For one, go out there and vote, and to do it in peace and not have any confrontation with anyone. We also tell people that election It's not about bullets, it's about ballots. It's a competition of ideas. It is about choosing the best person to govern us. So go out there and choose the person that you believe will do what you think is best for you and for our dear nation, Ghana. So that is why you go out there. So let's not go and fight. Let's go and perform this civic duty and go back to our homes. That is basically the deal. And once we have done that, we believe that there will be a peaceful, credible, free and fair elections.
Okay. Thank you, Reverend.
Yeah.
My name is Samuel Soyanki, and you are watching Race to the Seats on SBN TV. I believe you've learned a lot. You can send your comments on WhatsApp on the number on your screen, and also to all our social media platforms. We'll answer you. Reverend, we'll invite Reverend back to give you the answers on all your questions. So, Reverend, we've learned a lot today from you, and we are much grateful for you coming, honoring our invitation to come, and we believe that a lot of people might have learned a lot of things.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. It's a real honor and a privilege to be here on this brand new station. Yes, yes. I would like to come a bit more often than this.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Reverend, what final words do you have for us before you leave? We want to exhaust you. So what final words do you have for everybody out there?
So my final word is that violence doesn't solve any problem. We all belong to one country. We are one people with a common destiny. We should say yes to peace. Okay. And I urge all of us, Christians and non-Christians, the entire voting population, to say yes to peace. Already, the Christian Council of Ghana, one of our programs that we have is, sorry, I'm going back to what we do. It's we have a refugee program. We work with the UNHCR.
Okay.
A refugee program. So we receive refugees from the whole of the South region. Okay. And, you know, the Ivorians just had their elections.
Yeah.
And the fallout of that, we are beginning to have some refugees because there were some skirmishes over there. And so our people had gone to one of our refugee camps close to the Ivorian border and had begun receiving refugees. We don't want that to happen in Ghana. So let us all do the right thing.
Okay.
Let us say yes to peace.
So I think wherever you are, say yes
to peace.
Okay, thanks. So on these notes, we bring the show to a close. Meet us same time next week on SBN TV, and we say bye for now.